Hello again. God almighty. Just let a few more come on. Right, hello again. For the 48th time. I was taking the mickey out Sean Ashby when he was having these problems the other day. So I suppose it's karma. So, any questions for a start? Bubble, you're not wrong. I'm not even on overtime now. Mark, what's with the IVs? I'm still at work, that's why. Definitely, Gary, up the forest. Right, any questions or anything anybody wants to ask? Right, I'll start off with when Clive asked me to do this, he put a picture on of myself and my dad, and it's one of my earliest memories back in the day, and it was took at Evesham in 1978, and on that day there was 3 Trentmen went to Evesham, and that was my dad, Swinnow, and Roy Tolson. And it was one of the first times I'd seen the Warwickshire Raven, and they absolutely cleaned up. Wayne won the match, my dad was second and Roy was third, and we all travelled down in, I'm sure it was Swinnow's Vauxhall Viva, three men and a baby in a Vauxhall Viva, and that really was my first love of Evesham, and that's why I've always liked going to that place. And it's got quite a few memories, and I know some of you guys like the old stories and that from back in the day, and my love affair with Evesham, that's where it started. And then I got to see some brilliant anglers there, legends, you know what I mean, people like, I stood behind Clive Smith when he won the championships when it was the Ladbrokes. I think that was 1979, one above the bridge. And so I've had my fair share of watching some of the legends in action, and that's, like I say, that was my love affair of Evesham. Then my dad won the Whitehaven, and then I was fortunate enough to win it twice myself. So always a special place, the Warwickshire Raven for me. So, and that picture, as you can see, I haven't changed much at all. Still, obviously young and young and good looking. Not. So anyhow, can I have some questions? So I'm going to have to backwind and find some questions. Right, here we go. Gary Swain, what did you and your daughter catch? I haven't been fishing yet, Gary, to tell you the truth. I was going to go at the weekend, but I had some other things to do. So I'm planning on going this weekend somewhere, taking my little girl. She loves it. Hopefully she'll carry on loving it. Tim Duff, come on, you Rams. If I could press the eject button, you'd be gone now. Michael Smith, looking old kid. Supporting people like you, Michael, that's why. Henry Williams, why are you wearing the high vis? We can see you. Yes, because I'm still at work, mate. I'm still at work. How is being Mark Pollard? No, then Walrus. How is being the England feeder team manager? A lot of hard work, but I absolutely love it. Watching some of the best anglers in the world, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Difficult watching when you've actually been on the seat box, but I like it. So I'm just trying to catch up on some questions. What's your opinion about these moaning about not being able to go match fishing? Cheers, John Whedon. Right, look, everybody wants to do what they want to do. Everybody wants to go match fishing. I want to go match fishing, but the only thing I'll say is don't run before you can walk. I think if you'd have had a proposal that went straight with match fishing, straight to the government, I just think they would have just laughed in your face. That's my personal view on it. So first thing is, if you allow fishing, get your foot in the door, and then obviously you can ask for more. And now there has been There's been a letter submitted to Sport England through their solicitors that's going to go straight to the minister and the government. Now, that's available on the Angling Trust website if you want to see the guidance that they've done there. We've had some brilliant help along with some clubs and some fisheries, because what you've got to appreciate as well, all the commercial anglers want to go fish commercials, all the river anglers, when the season comes, want to fish rivers. Then you've got natural still waters as well. So you can't just have a set of rules for one discipline as such. So we're trying to get an all-round view and present it to the government, and hopefully that they will see that it can be done safely. Let's not forget, it's only been 6 days since you're allowed to go fishing, and it's like, I think everybody just needs to calm down a bit. It's only been 6 days, but let's just hope, right, that the proposals that they've put in, the government will allow it to happen. And so that's that. So any questions on that, I'll answer anything as honestly as I can. So cheers for that anyway, John. Right, Stuart, very old friend from the old Whiteacres days, getting back into match fishing, mate. Best pole I could get to start back up. The best pole you can possibly get is the one that you can afford. There's loads of good, like what they say, carp poles that's available now. That's good at 13, 14 meters. There's some brilliant ones around. You know what I mean? All the top manufacturers make good poles for that kind of money. And compared to technology that we've got now, compared to what we had back years ago, it's unbelievable. So, like I say, there's loads on the market. Whatever your wallet dictates, that's probably the best one you can get. Mark Lucas, I don't speak to you this much when I'm not live. You'll have to say that again, Mark. It's just gone by dead quick. Right then, Rod Johnson, Clive Branson, looking like your dad now. Cheers, Clive. Did you win the wide shaving 2 years running, Jason? No, I didn't, mate. I won it a year, then missed a year, then won it the year after. Once on peg 6, good peg, with £9 of roach on bloodworm, and then my favourite win was when I drew the Isbourne, and I had £8.2, which was, I think, was 5 or 6 chub and a couple of bits and bobs, but it was a bright, hot, sunny day, and I probably had about 385,000 casts for 9 bites all day. So I enjoyed that because you had to earn every single bite. It was like going back in time. So let's have a look. Some more questions. You're right, Sean. It isn't easy. Not at all. Richard Hicklin. You as a kid battering me in the next peg in the freeze and winter match. That's an old memory. God almighty. It used to be cold back in the old days, did it? It was always freezing. Winter leagues, but don't seem to be so cold anymore now. Not around Christmas time and that. But we used to have some brilliant winter venues back in the day. I used to love the Upper Trent Winter League, and me and my dad used to fish for Pete Wagstaff's match group, and we used to try and pit our wits against the Starlets team, which had a few up and coming anglers that you might have heard of, like Darren Bickerton, Mark Warren, Sean Ashby. You know, them people you might have just heard of. But it was a good education, and it was a brilliant format. 3 matches on the river, 3 matches on the canal, and very, very good fishing. Very good fishing. So, some more questions. Philip Middlemass, the proposal to the government from the Angling Trust to get match fishing back, does that relate to just commercial fishing and all natural waters? I covered this early, Philip. The plan we've put in is for everybody. The Angling Trust covers all disciplines. Do you know what I mean? So that's why you have to be very careful with what you put in, because it's not one size fits all. So that's what we've been doing for the last few weeks. I mean, it was always the intention that phase 1 get fishing, phase 2. If you read the original proposals, it's been there for weeks. Phase 1 get fishing, phase 2 get match fishing. So at the end of the day, I think we're on the right road now. Gary Swain, how did you catch that carp on Saturday at Larford in the Golden Rod? How did I catch it? Very skillfully, Gary. Very skillfully. I just underarmed it and it went round. You can't get any more skillful than that, pal. But I'm not telling you what I caught it on because you've asked me loads of times. I've told everyone else, but I'm just not telling you. JC Hugg, the feeder link or not to feed a link or not to feed a link. I hear some big names not using them now. I don't use them all the time. I use helicopter rigs and I use feeder links. It's what's best for the situation. Just because I make them don't mean I'm going to use them if they're wrong. You know what I mean? You gotta stack all the odds in your favour. When I'm casting a long way, just can't beat an helicopter rig. But if I'm fishing for small fish, probably up to 40 metres or anything like that, I'll definitely use a feeder link. But it's all personal choice, you know. So don't use things just for the sake of it. It don't do you any good in the end of the day, Jason. Mark Pollard, keep up the good work. Amanda Hughes, any stories from the Midland Canals when you and your dad used to come down? Used to come down. We used to live there. Being from Nottingham and everything, there is one story that was on the Upper Trent Winter League, like I mentioned before, and we drew an awning glow, and to the left of the bridge going up to the lock, and my dad drew the peg below the lock, and it was absolutely freezing. There was gin clear, proper cold winter day where there's just one bit of black down the canal. It's so clear. And I was up on the boats near Awning Basin, and my dad had been out for a few pints the night before, and he got to his peg and set up, and then decided that he needed a call of nature, but not one where you could stand up, shall we say. So underneath this, where the lock is, there's a big bridge, and so he's had a look round, see if no one was looking, and there's like an old big pile of carpets. And he thought, that looks a decent place there. So as the best thing with bloodworm and joker fishing, you've always got something to use to wipe with. So he bent down and decided to do his business. And what he didn't realise, the pile of carpets was a tramp's home. The tramp has jumped up and absolutely, literally scared the shit out of my dad. And he's going, what are you doing? What are you doing? The tramp is. And my dad went, I'm sorry, mate. And the tramp's gone, how would you like it if I come and had a shit in your house? So that was the story of one of the kind of things that used to happen when I used to go fishing with my dad. Still laugh about it now. I can remember the match. Nathan Hughes won it with a 3.5 pound fishing caster down the track. The day after he broke the Stupany record as well. You'll probably remember that, Sean. Right, just flicking through. Darren Jagger, thank you for your help towards getting back here. Just trying to get back fishing, mate. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. We tried his best. You know what I mean? Sometimes it ain't good enough for a lot of people, but we're trying our best. You know. Gary Swain again. I agree. Don't run before you can walk. Baby steps. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Kevin Lavelle. Where do you fish mostly? Hardly bump into you now, pal. No, because obviously I live now down in deepest Wiltshire. My wife down there. So when I lived in Warrington for a bit and lived with our child, our little girl, and we moved down south. So my matches now obviously revolve around feeder masters, match fishing. So no one's as gutted he can't fish matches more than me. And the feeder masters is the feeder masters and the feeder masters Super League. For me, they are the competitions. It's just like the Rivermen, like Riverfest and that there. And I'm really missing because the camaraderie and we when you're of a certain age, you remember team fishing and the crack and how it used to be and everything like that. And I think that especially the Feeder Masters Super League brought some of that back. You know what I mean? It was all for the team and the mentality of fishing. It was like stepping back. And to be fair, we really enjoyed it. Our team, I've got a great team of friends. There's myself, Adam Rooney, Darren Cox, Simon Fry and Gareth Lambert. we finished second last year. So that is like all important to me now. Is the feeder masters more than anything. So I'm missing matches. I just can't wait to get back on the bank. But like I say, when the time is right and it's safe to do so. Rob Jono, why do you use different lengths feed links? I don't. I use one. I use a 2-inch one. That's because I always use that. But it's quite surprising because it is a running paternoster. So I usually find the people up north always use longer paternosters anyway. So so people up north tend to use a bit longer links than everywhere else. But me personally, I just use a 2-inch one. It works for what I do. Craig Whiskey Walker, remember when you tried to get Mr. White, Dennis, drunk in the Red Horse, locking in at Evesham, and he won it that day because you was fishing in different teams? Yes, I had many a lock-in in the Red Horse. Brilliant pub. Really don't like the music there, but it was a proper pub and you could always get a good lock-in there. Always an essential thing. Before I was married, of course, and had children, that it was always important to get a lock-in in the pub. Richard Icklin, do you think the rivers will fish after having a good break from us lot? I think so. Yeah, with all the floods that's gone through, I just hope a lot of the fry have survived, and I think it will clear some weed out some sections. I can remember when they had the really bad floods. Again, at Evesham years ago, they all said it was going to be rubbish, but it fished its head off. So let's hope that the rivers have cleared a bit of rubbish out, a bit of weed. But I just hope there's still a little bit left for the fry to live in. So let's have a look. John Lynch, hi John. Talking of Bloodworm and Joker, John was a Bloodworm and Joker man many years ago. God, any more questions? Carl Shelton. If England had to host the World Feeder Championships, where would you go? If I could have 2 wishes, 1 would be we could fish home Pierpoint, and 2 would be we could fish home Pierpoint. That's it. And with how you can stock venues really easily now, it would be the number 1 place. It just makes me feel so sad that we can't fish it anymore. People have travelled for miles to go and fish home Pierpoint. It's everything you need. Park behind your peg. It absolutely saddens me, to be fair. So it's just a shame. And its nickname was the rowing course, but it's actually the National Water Sports Centre. And seeing as fishermen are water sports users, I think we should be able to fish it. And imagine it being a centre of excellence for angling. How many children would be able to go and learn how to fish there? It's a brilliantly safe place. So, yeah, if I could host the World Championships, it would be at home Pierpoint. Mark Lucas, again, can you please turn the light down? It's shining off your bold bits. I tell you what, who needs enemies with friends like that? But you're right, it is getting I've not had an haircut for ages, and I'm quite thinking it looks quite good to have hair again. I haven't had none for years. Cheers, Mark. Josh Toy. Best bait in summer on the pole. Depends what you're fishing for. I'm not a carp expert. I used to catch a few years ago. Pellets, I would say, is always a good bet. But if you're fishing for skimmers with this hot weather, definitely chopworm and castor, or chopworm and dead maggots and some fish meal ground bait, mate. Try and pour quite a big bed down, and then feed to your bites. That's what I would say. Any more questions? Ever been out in John Winkle? Ever been out in Basingstoke? How are those rose bush thistles, John? Are they all right? Try and get Andy Levis on. He'll answer you that question. Right. Any more questions? Dean, have you done very well in this post? Dean, you have done very well in this post as a great ambassador. Cheers, John. I'm not an ambassador. They asked me my opinion, and I gave my opinion. Hopefully, most people agree with what we've done. Some people don't, but like you say, strange times, and like I say, we've tried to help everybody in the sport, not just certain areas. It may look like you're helping certain areas, but you have to allocate the same amount of time to everybody, and there isn't a lot of time. So I just hope everyone at some point, when they get back fishing, I just hope they appreciate the effort that everybody's putting in. I just want to say this: I've obviously been in contact with Jamie Cook, the new CEO. I just want to say this one thing: in all the years that I've had any interaction with the Angling Trust, which on some occasions hasn't been the best because of the previous CEO, who didn't seem interested. This is my personal view. But the new CEO seems to be on the ball. So, and I know there's a lot of people will be watching this, and people all over everyone's got a story about the Angling Trust in the past. And rightly so. I'm not, there's no rose-tinted specs. But what I will say is, if going forward, if you can't go forward if you can't forget the past. So there's a new guy at the helm, give him a chance, and then comment and give you opinions when the guy's been in the job for a while. You know what I mean? So that's all I've got to say about it. Right, more questions. So just seeing Sam Wildsmith joined. Sam, brilliant. Well done for doing all your raffles, for helping the hospitals that you've chose. I know you raised thousands and thousands of pounds. Same with Andy Renton, absolutely mint. Kept his thoughts going regarding his online matches with New Fish. I can't remember what it's called now. I'm knackered. New Fish Southfield, and also to Brett Clark, who's been doing the Worsborough one. That has been brilliant. This series really did a lot of good work, and there's been a lot of people raising money, doing the right thing, and sometimes you just got to do the right thing, haven't you? So, right, moving on. Gareth Cobchet, evening Boris, evening the best bearded man in fishing. Michael Hall, Ginger, I remember showing your dad Porth for the first time and making the mistakes and letting him drink out my flask. Schoolboy error. It's a good job he didn't smoke at the time, Ginger. You'd have had them off you as well. But yeah, I could tell you exactly when that would have been. That would have been in April 1995. The first time we ever went to Whiteacres. What a brilliant venue it was back then. What a brilliant venue. Gareth Cobchair, Feeder Masters if the new Evesham of old. I don't know, Gareth. Feeder Masters is amazing. Evesham, it still attracts the crowds. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Evesham's still got a place, mate. Always will have. Just hope it's going to be on this year. Right, Lee Newson. Can you blow down a feed rod like an elephant? Now, this goes back to a story, the Terry Freeman Memorial at Tingriff Lakes, and Lee drew on Fringe Pool, same lake as me, and he had all his pole behind him. There's a really steep bank, and he was getting all his kit ready and everything like that. And if you don't know Lee, he's built like a giraffe. He's just arms and legs, and he's getting all set up. He's dead intense and everything like that. So I've gone behind his 14 metres of pole and blew down it like an elephant. God, I've never seen anyone move so fast in my life. But I actually won the memorial that year as well. So Terry was a brilliant friend of our families and everything like that. So another proud win for there. Helped that I had a £14 ghoster, which broke my top kit, and I managed to get it back. So better to be lucky than good. Right. Giles Cochran is watching. Ian Beale. Tony Hardman, pick on us Northerners. Your Northerners can take it. You've got a good sense of humour. Let's have a look. Any more questions? Barry Millward. Hi Dean, I met your dad a few times but only ever drew next to him once. We both had a dry-in, but we had a right laugh. Barry, I think sometimes people forget that it's only fishing. We all get disappointed when we don't catch anything, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it is only fishing. So most of the time, fishing is a break from work or family or whatever, you know. And I think sometimes we just have to appreciate what we've got. When it took away for a little while, and look at the reactions of people all over the place. So I think, and I hope that when things calm down, we all appreciate fishing a little bit more. So, right then. Nathan Watson, get on the waggler, boy. Well, now I've been known to chuck the odd waggler out, but John Choppen, best bait for carp, 6 to 20 pound, and bream on the waggle. Best bait for carp from 6 to 20 pound. Method and boilies, I reckon. Definitely methods and boilies. Tony Cotton, Dean, can we build a case up to get home Pierpoint back for fishing? It would really be a jewel in the crown. Tony, 100%, but I haven't got a clue, mate. I struggle with my own job as a site manager, so I wouldn't even know where to start, mate. But you never know. I'm sure we could ask the question somewhere, you know. And Rob Johnson, do you always use fluorocarbon hook length on the feeder fishing, and what do you use? Not always, Jono. My basic rule of thumb is I'm fishing less than 50 centimetres, I'll use fluorocarbon. And I actually do use the Drennan Supplex fluorocarbon. I used to use the Milo before it come out, which is pretty good, but now I actually use the Drennan one because it is, in my opinion, it is the best one. So yeah, anything that is below 50 centimetres, which is usually where you're fishing your bait close to your feeder and you're getting a lot of bites, I'll use normal monofilament if I'm fishing like anything 50 centimetres to a metre where you've got to get a fall. Best thing about fluorocarbon is I think it stays straighter, and I don't use it in fine lengths. I mean, for feeder fishing, the lowest I'll use is 013, but most of the time I'll be using 015, 017. It's not because it's apparently see-through in water. If I can see it, I'm sure a fish can see it. So it's nothing to do with that. It's just the way it reacts. It's the way it acts, not reacts in the water. Let's have a look. Oh, we've gone international. Torsten Custers is watching. Home Pierpoint, bud. Draw on the hump. Go back to let you get your cash. How good would that be? Draw on the hump. Monday night matches. Toonies rip-offs. Draw at the ump, 5 o'clock, fish 6 till 9. 110 people for a 3-hour match and a waiting list as well. God almighty. Opinion on river close season? Do I think there should be a close season? Possibly on at some point when the fish are spawning. I think the dates are all wrong, but it's probably a good idea to let the ruling clubs decide. To let the ruling clubs decide. That's my personal thought. You know what I mean? So the people who look after the waters probably know the water better than anybody else. So I do think it needs a rest, and it will give chance for maintenance to get done on pegs and things like that, and even clearing weed or whatever. But I think the clubs should have a big say in what they're doing on their waters. So. Okay, Richard Bode, light on, shines on the righteous. John Winkup, Andy Leathers is still running. I think he is, yeah. I think he is. Kevin Lavelle, what's the issue with Home Pierpoint? Or could we not get together and sort it with AT, etc.? Don't know, mate. I think at the moment got enough on his plate, but I can always ask the question, or anyone can ask the question. It would be just unbelievable, wouldn't it? Imagine Home Pierpoint, bloody hell fire. Frank Haskett, can't you get Angling Trust on the case about Home Pierpoint? Yeah, I can try. Nathan Watson, that looks old, boy. Obviously, you haven't got any mirrors in your ass, or if they are, they're them ones that you get in the circus. Nick Richards, Dean, roach fishing in Ireland. When roach come into the swim, would you ease off the feed going through the feeder? If I'm missing bites, yeah, 100%. But you got to remember that they're only there for the food. So just be careful. You want the fish in your peg, but you don't want them always looking at the feeder. You need to. Very good idea is probably 3 or 4 chucks with food in, a couple of chucks without food, and then just see how it goes. It's roach, that kind of fish, the scatty fish, the move in and out and everything like that. Rather than just keep chucking it down one hole, have a chuck around your peg. That might help as well, mate. Terry Pierce, well said, Boris. Give Simon a chance. Ali Coles, hello, Ali, how are you? Martin Ward, evening, Dean. What's your thoughts on the close season on rivers? I've just said about that, mate. Rob Northbridge, can you still fish Empire Point? I don't think so. Tom Hobbs, the best drawer in the Southern Hemisphere. Do you take it as more of an honour managing the England feeder team or being picked to fish for them? That's a hard one. I never really thought about that, Tom. Never really thought about that. I suppose it's the same. Obviously, you want to. There's nothing better than sitting on the box. But like I've said in another interview, my time was up, and so it's the next best thing. I still think that fishing for your country is the highest accolade you can get. So, but that's probably an era thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people want to do fish shows and maybe match this and that. Fair play to them. But for me, I don't think there's anything better standing on the top of a world podium with a gold medal around your neck. That is something that personally I think is the best feeling ever. And to do it twice is pretty special as well. So I'd just like to, obviously, if I can get the same kind of results with the talented bunch of lads that I've inherited and get a gold as a manager, yeah, I think it would all be the same. It's just proud being associated with England and wearing the 3 lions. Lee Newson, definitely. Colin Doran, hi Dean. Would you approach the Diver World? How would you approach the Diver World Piers in Ireland in September? Hopefully, if it goes ahead, I'll be there. How would I approach it? Try and draw like Michael Buckwalder. Definitely try and draw like Michael Buckwalder. But all seriously, there's so many different kinds of fishing. You have to take the conditions into account. But I mean, last year I ended up finishing I think 9th overall. Just missed out with me and my pair, and I don't know what it is. I sat there for 2 days with like 4-foot waves lapping over my legs, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. And you just have to appreciate where you actually are and how good the fishing is. It's like, but it's not just that. The hospitality is amazing. Hospitality in Ireland is good wherever you go, and the crack, of course. Right. Melvin Baxter, do you miss team fishing? Yes, I miss the team fishing with Essex Counter. But like I said before, I feel like the Feeder Masters Super League has brought a little bit of that sparkle back. So Gareth Cobter, how do we improve and grow women into the sport and gaining national sponsorship for getting sponsorships for the national teams? Gareth, I don't honestly know. It's bad enough trying to get children involved, never mind anybody else. But it would be nice. Most people I know who went fishing with a dad, the granddad, or something like that. But I think one of the problems, life is just too busy nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Life is busier now than it ever has been. We all work longer hours, or some of us do. We'll work longer hours than that. But I think we probably need to make a bit of time. I think that would probably help as well. But there's I don't know the answer, mate. Right, what time is it? I'm going to have 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. John Lynch, do you remember fishing on the British Pole Championships on the Bridgewater Canal in Manchester with your dad? He said it was the best canal match ever fished. Yes, I do. My dad drew right behind Man United's ground on the Craft Arm, and I was about 10 pegs to the left of Waters Meet, and you'll know where that is if you're from that part of the area. And I weighed £5.15 and come nowhere. And if I remember rightly, the format was the top 40 weights qualified for the final, which I think was on Gloucester Canal. My dad was 39th with 6:15.8. That's and only £13 won the match. I think Ian Moulton won the match, £13 of skimmers, but you needed 6:15 to qualify. So yeah, I do remember it. And the other thing as well, when everybody parked up at that disused bridge, they all got the cars broken into. I remember that as well. So, Kevin Dix, what's your shot pattern for a stick float, starting from the hook length? For me, everything bottom half down below, whether it's strung out or a bulk, and a few droppers, just like a pole float. But everything strung out, you don't want anything more than halfway up. It's just blowing in the air, innit? So that's how I do it, Kevin. Paul Johnson, hi Dean, I went for one of your dad's road shows. The place was packed. All his stories were very funny. Yeah, he did have a certain aura around him. And one thing about my dad, all the stories were true. The stories were true. Amanda Hughes, do you use fluorocarbon on the pole and does it sink slower? I don't think it sinks any slower. I think it sinks straighter, and I do, for all my roach fishing, I've been using fluorocarbon for ages. I do think it, especially when you're roach fishing, you're fishing with bloodworm or pinkies and that, and you have to lower your rigging. I think it definitely presents definitely better. Parker Man, hey up. Evening. Mark Vanessa Price, how do you pick your horses? Mine fall at the last. I live 3 miles from Lambourne, so if you know where I live, or you know what Lambourne's famous for, it's where all the famous horse jockeys live and all that. So yeah, again from there, Mark. But I'll send you through a few when it's when the season starts. Colin Bennett, hello Colin, how are you, mate? So let's have a quick look. Any tips for getting into the feeder matches? In what way? Apply for them? I don't know, you just got to be in it to win it, mate. Graham Wall, the bar's been up in an hour, so I'm wondering how many cans you've had. What do you think of the golden rod feeder competition? Is there anything you would change? Is there anything I would change? That's not for me to say. I do like, obviously, feeder competitions, and it is one of it is the second biggest in the feeder matchman's calendar. What would I change? I don't really know. Maybe you've got some ideas for us, Graham. Paul Sanderson, best angler I've ever fished with? Wayne Swinscoe. 100% Wayne Swinscoe. He's been doing it for, well, as long as I've been alive. And does it the right way. Always got a smile on his face. Always has the crack. A brilliant angler. An even better person. So yeah, Swinno for me. Dave Britton, when you coming to Shearwater again? Good to catch up. Shearwater, my favourite venue. Unbelievable. Nick Richards, hi Dean. Roach fishing in Ireland. Do you ease off the feed when you start catching? I think I've had that one before. Sometimes, mate. You just got to keep in. You've got to keep in touch with how the fish are feeding. If you stop getting bites, put some more bait in. If you miss a load of bites, don't put as much in. Tom Hobbs, spot on, mate. Spot on what? As in, you are the best drawer in the southern hemisphere. Right. What time is it? It is 5:02, so I'll be signing off in one more question. See if I can pick a good one out. Blah, blah, blah. I need to ring my little one up before she goes to bed. Right. That is it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry for the hiccups at the start. I am at that certain age where technology doesn't quite work. And Sean Ashby, I owe you an apology. because I was absolutely ripping you before. So, right, and guys, hope you've enjoyed it, and I will catch up with you later. Take care. See you later.